Hello, this is a video about generating a PDF in Python. My students in creative coding are generating novels following the model of NaNoGenMo, and I'm suggesting that you should try to make your code such that it ends up with a PDF file of your novel. This is a video where I'm going to try to show you one way to do that. So let's take a look. In Canvas, I have a description of the workflow, and I've got several text generation methods that I will be making videos about as well. But for now, I wanted to look at the overall workflow, kind of a high-level view of getting some text and then ending up with a PDF. So let's take a look here. This is the notebook, and I'll put the link to this notebook in the description and YouTube and wherever else I can think of to put it. And the method I'm doing here involves a couple of things that are a bit unusual, or if you're not used to them, might be a bit unusual. It uses Markdown to generate. It generates text in Markdown that will then be converted to HTML and then to a PDF. And it does seem like a lot of steps, but trust me, this is better than working with LaTeX. So, LaTeX is great, but it's a lot to work with. So what we're doing instead is something called WheezyPrint. WheezyPrint can work with HTML, but not with pure Markdown, so we need to add that extra step of generating Markdown to begin with, and then converting Markdown to HTML, and then going to a PDF. So first of all, the module for WheezyPrint is probably not available in your environment to begin with, and so you need to install it. I'm doing this in a Colab notebook, and so to install things in the environment, I have to use this notation here, the exclamation point, and then pip. Pip is a separate program, but it's the Python installer, and so I can call pip outside of my notebook by using the exclamation point, and then that will install WheezyPrint into the environment that my notebook is running in, and then I can use it. So I'm going to run this here. And it's telling me that the requirement is already satisfied. That means I have already installed it in my environment. If I had not, then instead of this, I would see a series of progress bars as these different dependencies were satisfied. And at the end of it, it would just say done, and that's it. I don't need this output anymore, so I'm going to X that out. If you make a copy of this notebook, just make sure you run this first, and then go ahead and run it every time you restart the notebook, just to make sure that WheezyPrint is still there. If it's not, then it'll reinstall it. And if it is, it'll just give you that message there that says it's already there, and that's fine. We're going to need a couple other things. There's a Markdown module for Python. It is already in the environment in Colab notebooks anyway, so I just need to import it, and then of course I need to import WheezyPrint. I'm also going to need to import random for this example, and then this HTML, CSS are two specific submodules of WheezyPrint that I'm going to be using. Actually, I'm not going to be using CSS probably, but you might eventually. So let's take a look. This is just a quick explanation of Markdown, demonstrating it. You can double click on this cell if you're editing it and see the Markdown code that I wrote here on the left, and then you can see the output of it on the right. This is just to give you a sense of what Markdown does. A lot of ways to learn Markdown. The link here takes you to the documentation for Markdown. There are different flavors of Markdown and different versions of it. This one that we have in Colab notebooks is very simple. There are more complicated kinds. You're not really going to need it for this thing, so I wouldn't get too far into that, to be honest. I'm just explaining that because that's what I'm doing to generate this text. Down here, this is a sample method for generating a novel. I'm not going to get into detail with this, but some of the content here that you see, the hash mark, they have that first level heading, 2 hash marks, that's the second level heading. I'm just trying to explain basically that this is going to generate a novel in Markdown format. And if I run this cell, you'll actually see that novel. It's just a lot of words, but I'm not going to get into detail with that. I think it's more useful just to see that, in fact, it worked by counting the words. And so this is going to count 50,000 words for me, 50,239 in this case. Now, I don't need this line either, so I'm going to comment that out. But what's happening here is turning this Markdown novel, the content of that novel is on that string here, novel. I need to feed that to the Markdown module, and then that will transform it into HTML. And so novel_HTML is going to save the contents of the novel in HTML form. I don't need to look at it in this form. This is just the handoff or the go-between to get from Markdown to a PDF. But if I wanted to, I could print it like I did here. I could say print novel HTML. If you get some unusual formatting in the output, you might want to check it here, but it's basically pretty straightforward in this case. And finally, this is the step where it actually generates the PDF. And it's very straightforward. There's a bit more that you can do to add CSS or other things, but you don't really need that for this for certainly my students to be successful, you just need words. So this is all you need. It's going to be using the write PDF function of the HTML module within WheezyPrint. And this is the syntax. So I'm passing in a string. So this is an argument that I am feeding to the HTML module. I'm saying the string equals novel HTML. If you try to just give it novel HTML or something, you'll get an error. So I have to say, this is what I want you to turn into a PDF. It's a string. And I run it, and it just works. Hi, I'm doing a video. If it works, then I can open this folder here and see it. It's so many words.pdf, or so underscore many underscore words.pdf. And I can view it in here, I guess, just to prove that it works. Let me try it. But trust me, it worked. Just a few minutes. And there it is, so many words, chapter 1, and then on into it. And that was a PDF. So I didn't really get into the kinds of things you would put into the PDF. This is just the workflow. So you might want to, if you're doing this through my class, you might want to visit this video last after you've already figured out a way to generate a novel. And then you can take this video with an idea of how you're generating yours, and then put your code into that cell that I used to generate my kind of demonstration novel. Or you can find another way to work it into your workflow, whatever works. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching.